Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and today we are back with another 101 episode where today we talk about Galactic War. And class, we have a lot of awesome stuff coming your way, and Galactic War is by far one of the best ways to get your characters at the very beginning. And as we'll find out in a clarification I have from a previous video, it's also another great place to get a lot of your ships, and we'll talk about that in a second. But before we get to our class topic today, I want to go ahead and show you a super big surprise that finally happened for my guild, and that is we finally defeated the heroic AAT, and it was extremely tough. Let me go ahead and show you how it went real quick. And I'm going to make a video on this, on exactly what we did. I have kind of clip-its from each phase, and I'm going to give you best practices for your guild, best tips for each phase, because I have to tell you right away, it is very difficult. For a guild like ours, it took us a long time to get to this point, and we had to put out a lot of damage to get here. It's a team effort. This is definitely a team effort. It's not like the Rancor whatsoever, where a one person can just go ahead and do the whole thing by themselves. Not like that whatsoever. I actually placed number 9, totally happy with that for our first AAT raid, and I'll show you the rewards I got in a moment here. But as you see, a lot of people had to put up 1,000,000 damage all the way up to number 20, and then even so afterwards, we still have quite a couple 100,000 on here. So it's not like one person can do 20 million and call it a day. This is a team effort, guys. It's really tough. We'll talk more about this in a later video. I just wanted to give you guys the heads up that I'm finally able to get this thing accomplished, and I'm doing pretty well at it. Number 9 is not too bad at all. So let me first show you the rewards here. And for number 9, I don't really care that much. I mean, I got my first batch of Kenobi shards, which is absolutely amazing. It's a lot of fun. I'm super excited to redeem this for the first time. I'll actually go ahead and post a picture of what the number 1 person in my guild got, and he got 4 full pieces of raid rewards. 4 full pieces, and then he got his General Kenobi shards on top of that. So let's go ahead and claim this real quick. And this was yet another tournament I could not participate in. As some of you know from my last video, I got law school exams super duper busy, and I just could not participate in a tournament of this magnitude during the week. Everyone wants Darth Vader ship, and it's just very competitive with ally points. You have to invest a lot of hours in. I know a lot of people who spent a ton of hours in and didn't even get them unlocked. So I unfortunately could not get them at all. We're going to go ahead and claim the rewards anyways. I'm perfectly fine with not participating. Maybe they'll release it again on a weekend or sometime when I'm not busy. But again, this was a tournament I could not participate in. At least I got some sort of rewards out of this. So, yeah, before we get going, few things. A lot of you might be asking, hey, Arnold, that's awesome. You went ahead. You finished the heroic AAT raid. Can I join your guild? Well, one thing is I actually do not do any more guild recruitments. I joined Team Skunk with my guild a long time ago, and they handle all the recruitment. So what I'll do, if you're very interested in joining Team Skunk, they accept a lot of people, low-end people, top-end people, whales, free-to-play players. They have a place for you. So if you want to know how to get in there, I'll leave a link down below in the description where you can go ahead and see how their whole application process works. And in case you want, just go in there and say, I'm a friend of Arnold. I was told that he was here. And then they'll let you in. Don't worry about it, guys. We got you covered. There's a place for you somewhere out there. And now kind of segueing into our topic of Galactic War shipments, I first want to talk about my last video. My last video, I kind of, most people got what I was talking about, but there was kind of a few missing words in one of my premises that kind of brought the assumption in that I meant that you should not farm any ships whatsoever, and I did not mean that whatsoever. If I meant that you should not get any ships in this game because it's a brand new thing, I should just hang up my Jedi robe and call it a day, because that is absolutely horrible advice. Yes, it's a brand new feature, but what I meant is you don't need to spend all of your fleet currency on ships. I recommend not farming ships initially from fleet shipments because, well, it kind of goes into our new topic today of Galactic War shipments. And most of the ships you can get from fleet shipments, you can get from here in Galactic War, where the currency is a lot easier to come across, and it's not as hard to get as fleet shipments, where you really have to be competitive to get a lot of tokens. So that's what I meant. What I meant was, don't spend, there's no need to get ships from fleet shipments ASAP. You can get a ton of ships from here that are also in fleet shipments, kind of like the character shards. Let me go back there real quick. When you go to ships, it's kind of like this. why would you farm Mace Windu out of fleet shipments when you can get him in arena now? He's also in arena, they just added him there, as well as hard node battles, as well as the Cantina table. Kind of doesn't make sense to put very valuable currency into getting Mace Windu here. Doesn't make much sense. Same thing like Boba Fett, you can get him in the Cantina shop. Same thing with Ahsoka Tano. Biggs Darklighter. Why would you get Biggs Darklighter in fleet shipments when you can get him in the Galactic War shipment? So that's what I meant to my last video, is that you should just farm the valuable characters in here, like Sun Fac and Rex, maybe General Grievous and Darth Maul if you really want them, and farm all these other ships. Like, look, for example, Ahsoka Tano, Geonosian Spy, Wedge, Plo Koon, First Order TIE Pilot, Resistance X-Wing. All of those ships you can get from Galactic War. And let's go ahead and get to our topic of Galactic War shipments now. So that's what I meant, guys. So a lot of you understood what I meant, but I completely understand for those of you who got the idea that maybe I was recommending not farming ships whatsoever, and that's a horrible plan. If that's what I meant. So I did not mean that whatsoever. Hopefully now it comes across clearer that I meant that you should farm these ships in here. Just to kind of let you know what ships you can get from Galactic War, let me read it off to you. So in terms of Galactic War ships, you can get the Geonosian Spy, Geonosian Soldier, Ahsoka Tano, Biggs Darklighter, Plo Koon, deep breath, Imperial TIE Fighter, Wedge, Jedi Counselor, First Order TIE Fighter, Resistance X-Wing, and that's not even an exhaustive list there. And if you want to know what's kind of exclusive to the fleet shipments, then here you go. Bistan, exclusive there. Darth Maul, Sun Fac, Rex, and Poe. I believe those are all exclusive to the fleet shipments, and you cannot get them in here. Well, the thing is, it's kind of, it doesn't make sense to farm Darth Maul ships, Rex ship, Sun Fac ship, if you don't have the character. Most people do not have those characters at all. And also Boba Fett, I forgot to mention Boba Fett. His Slave One is also in there. Great ship. Might be the one exception to this rule about farming a ship right now, because it's actually a really great ship. But all these other ships, Bistan, most of us have them unlocked from the month login reward, so maybe might be the way to go. Poe is truly the only one that a lot of people have the 7 stars. That might be the only reason why you might want to go to fleet shipments, is because you have Poe to 7 stars and you want to get his ship right now. But again, that's why I meant to farm ships out of here. But before you can farm ships, there's something we really have to talk about, and that is, what characters should I farm? Now we're going to start off from the beginner's level. If you're beginning in this game, what characters do you need to get? And there's a lot of characters in here that personally, when I started, they were super helpful, and to this day they help a lot of beginner players. Like my brother's playing, and I told him to get a couple of these players, and they really do help in the beginning of the game. And these first few characters, you can kind of bounce around in order who you want to get first, but I highly recommend one of the best first leaders you can get quite easily is Captain Phasma. Now, I'm not going to do an in-depth review right now because that would be a lot, but Captain Phasma is just a great beginner leader, and even right now, she also has a Zeta Mat upgrade to her leader ability, which just makes her even better. So she's a very good initial investment, and she was used for a long time in things like the raid, but she's great in beginner's arena, Galactic War, hard side battles, Cantina battles. You kind of get the drift. Moving on from there, another great character that I've been using. Oh, time to go to bed, guys. No bed. We got Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes to talk about, so goodbye. All right, so the next character I really think you guys should farm is IG-86. He is just amazing from beginning to the very end. He's one of those great droid characters that is just absolutely, I think, in my opinion, needed in a droid lineup. He's very successful in Arena, Galactic War. I even use him in the AAT raid, as you guys saw from my previous videos. Droids are one of the best squads used for phases 2 and phases 4, and that's another great reason why to do it. He's even great for the Rancor. I've showed a picture before how I got 1,000,000 damage just using droids, and even right now with my current turn meter manipulation lineup, with my typical Teebo, Qui-Gon Jinn, I've used Dengar. Who else do I use? I use Ewok Elder. I also use IG-86 for the assist attack and burst damage. So he's great all around the board. So definitely my next recommendation is to get IG-86. But the reason why I recommended Captain Phasma first is because when you first start off in the game, you want a really great leader to lead your people into battle. And Captain Phasma really checks off there at the very beginning. So we talked about IG-86, Captain Phasma. Now here comes the next two. If you really want to be an amazing player at raids from like day 1 of guilds,
Tebow is your man. He is the man with the plan, let me tell you. He's just, for the free-to-play player, he makes the Rancor raid just like it's nothing. You honestly could solo the whole thing with the Tebow and the right amount of potency mods. He just does great, and he occasionally gets resisted, but still, you can easily fly by phase 1 of the raid with a Tebow lead. So other than that, though, Tebow's not the most amazing in Arena, not the most amazing in Galactic War. Rancor raid is pretty much where he shines, and it's a very important area of the game because the better you do in Arena, the better rewards you get, the more times your guild can beat the heroic Rancor, and so on and so forth. So Tebow is another great beginner character and even an endgame player. I use him a lot, and I only have him at gear 8, and with potency mods, I can solo phase 1 and most of phase 2. If I had better characters, maybe more gear on Tebow, I can go way farther. Next character, very important because of both ships and because his buddy Wedge is just killing it in Arena and pretty much the raid and everything else. Biggs Darklighter, or what I like to call Biggs Fart Lighter. And he's great. With his recent rework with Wedge, he is a very amazing burst damage character, and he's almost essential in phases 4 and 2 in the new heroic AAT raid, because him and his buddy, they put out some major damage. So Biggs Darklighter, another great beginner character, as well as a great end character. And if you get Wedge, you are pretty much in great shape for this current meta and for the heroic raid, which I believe will stay the way it is for a very long time. And let me see here. Another great character at the very beginning is Luminara Unduli. And she's not that good right now in the end game, but she used to be. For a very long time, Luminara was like the girl. But now she's not too good in the end game, but for the beginner player, healers play a very important role before protection comes around and saves the day. So, and healers were also great when it came to Galactic War, because Galactic War is a marathon, or for some squads like droids, it's a sprint for them. But Luminar helps your team heal, and for the beginner player, healing is a very important mechanism. And her leader ability, it's okay. It's mostly good for Jedis. Also keep in mind, if you ever plan on getting General Kenobi, which is a long trip, even for me, even though we just beat our first one, it's a long trip before we even got General Kenobi unlocked. Healers might be very great again under a General Kenobi lead. So do keep that in mind. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything else. We talked about Tebow, Biggs, Luminara, IG-86, Captain Phasma. Another one that I might recommend for the beginner player, not so much important now, used to be very important, is Poggle the Lesser. He used to be the meta. One of the old metas was Poggle the Lesser, Poe Dameron, and all your droids, and they would just kill, and it was really hard to beat those types of squads unless you took out IG-88 first. And now he's not that good in the current meta, but still, for the beginner player, which is why I'm making these videos, he is very important. He gives your team offense up, he can ability block, and if you use droids, which are very viable in all aspects of the game in my opinion, he just buffs their damage even more. So another great person, probably not my #1 priority for a beginner person. If you're looking for a leader ability, much rather go for Captain Phasma over Poggle the Lesser, but Poggle the Lesser should be in your inventory at one point or another. Now the rest, kind of up in the air. Cad Bane, he used to be a Chromium exclusive character. I farmed him thinking he might be good again one day. Boba Fett rework came out recently, and he definitely is slightly better with Boba Fett, but not that amazing. But if you want an easy character to get for the bounty, for the credit heist, he's your guy to go to. Very simple to farm, not too hard to gear, and he definitely at gear 8, he can get you through the credit heist with no problem because he has a great stun ability and turn meter removal ability, and he's got a kind of a cool kit, I have to say that. Next, if you're looking for a very easy pilot for one of your ships, get the Resistance pilot. As I mentioned before, you could get the Resistance plane in here. It's not showing up right now, so you can get both the Resistance pilot and the ships in this same spot. So that's a great thing, knowing that they're both here at the same time. So I wouldn't say go for Resistance pilot right away, but they're a pretty decent character for the beginner player. But definitely, as I mentioned, all those characters before, Captain Phasma, IG-86, Luminara, are definitely higher priorities when you first start. Now, when it comes to your potency mod challenges, it makes me roll my eyes. I got Magma Trooper day 1 when he was brought to Galactic War, got him to max gear, and he is just so horrible, so bad. I tried so hard to have hope in him, and he just couldn't get the job done for me. But if you need a quick character for the potency mods, he definitely will get the job for you. The thermal detonator does come in handy here and there, but the cooldown is so low. The speed is so low. He has a lot of protection and a lot of health. He's more like a tank in my opinion. But again, there's a lot of better Empire characters nowadays. But if you need someone really fast, or you just love Empire characters like I do, then you go ahead, get Magma Trooper. But again, do not make him your #1 priority, even though he looks kind of cool in theory. Tusken Raider, another okay character for the raid. He has some turn meter removal abilities, but nothing that makes you want to, drop and get him right away. So if you're trying to find a very easy first time player raid team, Tebow and Tusken Raider, definitely some decent characters to start off with. Now Dacia, every single shipment inside of the game, right, besides fleet shipments, has a Jawa of some sort. Jawa Scavenger, Jawa Engineer, Dacia, so on and so forth. Chief Nebit, of course. And Dacia actually does a great job in the phase 3 of the heroic AAT raid. So if you're looking for someone that can help you get through just the raid, both heroic or normal for the AAT, Dacia's a really great lead, but again, should not be #1 priority for the beginner player. The beginner player's main focus is to get up in arena really fast, beat the battles on the table, and then as you get more crystals, you can work on characters more, you can get more energy, and Dacia should not be an arena leader unless you're just trying to have fun with an all Jawa team, which I have, and they're not arena viable at this time. Night Sister Initiate, nothing special there, really wouldn't recommend getting her unless you just want to. Who else am I missing here? Oh, we talked about Dacia. I think that's pretty much everyone in here in terms of characters. So pretty much, yeah, take what I said there. For the beginner player, you for sure want to get Captain Phasma, Luminara, IG-86, and maybe Paga the Lesser. Those are great beginner characters. For someone like me, for someone who's been playing the game for a very long time, my recommendation for you is pretty much farm at least most of the characters, 90% of them, 85% of these characters. Even though you might not ever use them, knowing that they're at 7 stars is a great thing, because one day they could be an amazing character. Like, who would have known that Biggs Darklighter would have been a great character? Very easy character to farm. A lot of people just had him sitting on the back burner, and now he's killing it. He's one of the biggest threats in Arena, in my opinion. Short Trooper, not a problem for me. TIE Fighter Pilot, not a problem for me. Emperor Palpatine, not too big of a problem for me. But Biggs Darklighter, he is a pain in the butt. So he's a great character, and that's what I mean. For someone like me, you just want to try to farm all these characters. Only characters I have not farmed to 7 stars as of now is Night Sister Initiate, Tusken Raider, and Resistance Pilot. Those are the only 3 characters I have not farmed to 7 stars because 1, I was either farming these other characters, or 2, as a lot of you know, I farmed General Grievous during one of my board periods. I went ahead and just farmed him to 7 stars through Galactic War shipments. And I don't recommend doing that unless you really desperately want General Grievous like I did. But there's a lot of better ways for the beginner player to get all these other characters. Now, when it comes to ally points, we've been having a ton of tournaments lately, and it's very hard to say if you should do this. Personally, I have not bought one batch of ally points. I feel like it's much better to go ahead and use your Galactic War currency for the characters. I'm currently using them to get Baze, because Baze is only in the shard shop for so long. So every 2 to 3 days, I think, I get Baze shards from the shard shop, because he's an amazing character. I'm trying to get as many as I can. 5 shards every couple days does add up a little bit, but it's nothing too crazy. But the ally points, a lot of people say, or at least not a lot, I've heard some stories where getting that last batch of 18,000 ally points that you can get over here to the right helped them so much in getting through the tournament. But again, if you're getting towards the end of the tournament cycle, usually 18,000 ally points won't get you too far. 1, because the refresh cost is probably really high at that point. You've done a lot of battles. Or 2, you need a lot of battles completed to get to that next bracket. So 18k ally points might not get you too far. For the beginner player, I would say do not do that. For someone who has all the characters farmed, or at least 90% of the characters farmed from Galactic War, this might be an okay option. But personally, if you want my opinion, I just haven't done it. I think ally points are quite easy to come around to. Since I didn't participate in the last 2 tournaments, I got over 200,000 ally points. But again, that's just me. And then lastly, with ships, because I want to make sure I clarify this, last video didn't come across too straight, Since I said in fleet shipments, you shouldn't really farm any ships there. Characters should be your #1 priority in that shipment. Galactic War, kind of the same drill. If you're a beginner player, you want to have your characters first. Doesn't help that you have the Genosian Spy Starfighter, but you don't have Genosian Spy. Same thing with Wedge's ship. If you don't have Wedge, no point in taking or buying the Wedge's ship from here. So you want to make sure you first, for the beginner player, farm all these important characters that I mentioned. Biggs, he has a ship as well, and so on and so forth. And then once you're finally at the point, what I'm going to do, once Baze finally vanishes from the shard shop, I'm going ahead and farming ships like crazy straight from Galactic War. There's a good dozen ships in here. You can get a lot of amazing ships from here, and you don't need to be wasting your valuable currency for fleet shipments, where I'm currently farming all the clones, as you guys heard from my last story. But there you have it. In terms of what's the best ship to get, kind of up in the air. I highly recommend getting the Jedi Counselor ship. Again, one of those characters that is horrible in a lot of other aspects of the game, except for a few beginning days as a player. But in ships, he has one of the best beginning, or just I think one of the best ships in general. I played the game at 7 stars, maxed out everything while I was at EA. And Jedi Knight Counselor, he was shining. He was just going out there, blowing things up left and right with his assist attack, all that amazing stuff. So Jedi Counselor might be one of the first ships you get from here. But then you have Biggs, Wedge, Sunfac, Genosian Soldier, which is a great beginner player as well. That's in a whole different video we will be doing. But yeah, definitely farm your ships. If you have some of the characters at least unlocked, get a couple of them, then go ahead and start unlocking ships. But there you have it. I definitely recommend you get ships at one point. Just so you have to make sure it's in the right place at the right time. If you're starting out, you don't want to have all these ships but no characters to put them in. You want to make sure you have a little inventory of characters, then you start getting your ships in the right place. I definitely do believe firmly that fleet shipments, the currency, could be used for a lot of better things, especially when seeing that Galactic War, you have pretty much almost all the ships that are in fleet shipments, with the exception of about 4 or 5 very exclusive ships for very exclusive characters. But there we go, guys. Hopefully this video helped you out. Hopefully I kind of clarified some things from last time. I also hope you enjoy. You're going to enjoy the heroic raid video I will be making in the future, telling you my story of how this whole journey kind of went through. And please, if you have any more questions about these characters, the ships, anything about Galactic War, or anything about the game in general, please leave it down in the comments below, and I try my best to respond to most of you guys. But thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. And we will talk again soon. Peace out.